tech weaponry, like the F-35. Shifting U.S. foreign policy is compelling Canada and Europe to potentially look elsewhere for purchases of high-tech weaponry, like the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. The Trump administration's tariffs on allies like Canada, the suspension of foreign aid, and stance on Ukraine have led to NATO members raising concerns over the United States' commitment to the transatlantic partnership and whether it would defend Western allies if Moscow launched an attack. Any U.S. policy changes could hurt foreign sales of the Lockheed Martin-made F-35 and the F-16. Russia's war in Ukraine has shown Eastern European NATO nations have large stockpiles of Soviet-era weapons not compatible with Western military equipment. The revelation led to a long-term effort to get all NATO nations on the same page in terms of weaponry by swapping out Soviet-era jets with Western ones, specifically the F-16, and in some instances, the F-35. They did have support. However, some NATO countries are now considering a switch from U.S.-made fighters to European jets as U.S. loyalty to NATO is questioned. The European Union also announced Wednesday a new shift away from a defense policy dependent on the U.S. for security and plans to buy more military technology from Europe. In recent years, the EU has given roughly two-thirds of its weapons orders to U.S. defense companies. Canada is also considering changes amid a trade war with the U.S. New Prime Minister Mark Carney is ordering a review of its purchase of F-35s from the U.S., and it could be significant, considering Canada has worked in concert with the U.S. in developing the jet. Not all countries are moving away from U.S. weaponry, though. The Netherlands and Norway have recently expressed continued support for the U.S. F-35 program. To date, about 1,100 F-35 Joint Strike Fighters have been produced for 16 military services around the world. And while expensive, Europe would not be able to replicate its capabilities with purchases outside the U.S. Adding to European concerns and a potential shift away from U.S. military tech, the Trump administration's stance on the Russia-Ukraine war has led to fears the U.S. could install a hypothetical kill switch in F-35's programming. The Pentagon, however, firmly denies any such kill switch exists. For more on this story, download the Straight Arrow News app or visit SAN.com. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Lauren Taylor.
All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off saying, Call Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harikakudash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostle, the great most honor my elder Heroin as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, I'm Kalaksan Bar Yashal from the Lions of the Yashal camp. This is another Lions Den news and prophecy. And then, boy, this is a doozy, man. This is a doozy. Um, There's another article I was looking for how America's not America but Canada struck a deal with Australia dealing with some type of weapons or something like that. Where everybody's pulling the lines away from the United States and how about Shima Shah making America a gazing stop? Let me get that. Slacking. Oh, I can't find the one I'm looking for, but if it comes to me, I'll wait. Okay, maybe this is it. Mm-hmm. Slacking. But basically, the Lord is making a mockery of America, man. Okay, yeah. All right. This is Nahum 3:5. It says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee a gazing, make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock." Right. So now, so that's the Lord, like, and He's doing it through Trump. And so all the all the executive orders and everything that Trump's, you know, putting forth and all that, of course that was talking about Nineveh right there, but like America is Nineveh, present day, like spiritually Nineveh. All the things that put it this way, all the things that all the plagues of Nineveh, Egypt, Babylon are meant for America. You know, like Scripture says, I will gather my people from Egypt the second time, right, pulling us out of America, right. Babylon, mystery Babylon, America, or destruction of Nineveh. That's set forth for America, United States at that. You know, so you see these countries withdrawing from having any type of alliance with the United States because everybody that he has alliance, the United States has alliance with, Trump is rubbing the wrong way, dealing with these tariffs and things like that, talking about he has to make America a golden city. And listen, and that's great because that's going to be a witness against them when the Yahweh Shai shows up. See that golden city, that great city, which has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, full of abominations and filth. And now the Lord is exposing that abominations and filth. And now don't nobody really want to have nothing to do with America. Cause they, you know what I'm saying? And then eventually they're gonna really withdraw when they start seeing America being really stripped apart. All right. It says shifting U.S. foreign policy, including tariffs, suspension of foreign aid, and stance on Ukraine is causing concerns among NATO allies among the United States' commitment to the partnership. This had led Canada and Europe to potentially look elsewhere for high-tech weaponry like the F-35, and that's one of the major commodities that keeps America afloat. Besides the U.S. dollar, is the military-industrial complex and the sale of military weaponry. And that's the kind of foreign aid that they give to these countries. They give them a whole bunch of weapons, and you know what I'm saying. In return they reap the resources and benefits and stuff, and change of the regime. You know what I'm saying. They get to dictate what goes on there and replace it, and that's one of America's big. They don't really have any GDP, but that's one of the things that keeps America afloat. How they make their money, you know, is a sale of weapons. I think like George Bush has something to do with it, Daddy Bush, and some of those Arab countries in the Middle East. They got a company together that deals with um uh military grade weapons. It says the European Union announced a shift away from the defense policy dependent on the United States planning to buy more military technology from Europe. All right, so now switching up defense policies. And they're all supposed to be in alliance together, the European Union and NATO, right, and the United States. That's going into Revelation 13 with the construction of those three, and then Revelation 17 goes into if I'm not mistaken, goes into the dragon and the beast turning and hating the whore, which is America. All right, so the European Union announced a shift away from a defense policy dependent on the United States planning to buy more military technology from Europe. Canada is also reviewing its purchase of F-35s amid a trade war with the United States. Concerns over U.S. loyalty to NATO and fears of um, hypothetical kill switch in F-35. You've seen all that in that's just an outline of what this article is talking about. But you're seeing all that. They were speaking about all that in the video that I played in the beginning. All right, so here's the full story. It says shifting United States foreign policy is compelling Canada and Europe to potentially look elsewhere for high tech weaponry like the F 35 Joint Strike Fighter. The Trump administration's tariffs on allies like Canada, suspension of foreign aid, and stance on Ukraine have led to NATO members rising concerns over the United States' commitment to transatlantic partnership and whether it would defend Western allies if Moscow were to launch an attack. You see that? So now, ooh, this is so deep because Moscow. That's what is that? The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, if I'm not mistaken. But what is that? What is that saying? That's going into Ezekiel 38 because eventually, right, they're gonna turn and hate the whore. But who's gonna take that first strike? Russia. Who's gonna be the one that takes America down? Russia, right? Instead of instead of helping America fight against the bear, they're gonna join with the bear. All these countries are gonna turn against America. You see that? We're witnessing of our captivity being turned back right before our eyes. Like we're living it. We're actually living it. We're living these prophecies, man. It's inevitable what's about to happen. There's nothing they can do. So think about it. If 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 they're shaking on what America's decision would be if Russia or Moscow, the Kremlin, would turn and attack these European countries, right? What do you think the take is going to be if Russia turns and says fuck it in Slovakia for my language and says and let's get it and turns and strikes America? They're already thinking like, oh, y'all, we don't feel like you would have helped us, so why would we help y'all? You see that? See that? All right. So it says amidst Russia's war in Ukraine, because that's one key thing, because when Putin, no, when Vladimir Zelensky came over here, right, to meet with uh President President Musk and Vice President Trump. That's what people like to say. It's because it's funny because that's how it kind of looks. They don't even see the vice president. You see Elon Musk with Trump everywhere, right? But they made a mockery of this dude. They clowned this dude, man. And the elder did a lesson on the interview. Like, yo, y'all think because y'all surrounded by the water that y'all protected? And they'll do the lesson, even though you're surrounded by water, you're still gonna be, you know what I'm talking about? Egypt thought the same thing. All these nations thought they were in good case until the Lord sent somebody else to take them down and told them that he was gonna do it before he did it. And they still couldn't do nothing about it. You see that? It says, all right, so now think about it. The European Union and NATO, some European Union and NATO countries have concern on what would America do, seeing how they're, when Trump got in the office, how you know what I'm saying? He's pulling back on aid to Ukraine, right? What would they do if Russia were to attack? Let's say Russia wipes through Ukraine, takes that over, and then starts taking over other European countries. What is it? Is America going to do the same thing or say we ain't got nothing to do with that? That's between y'all, right? But then what happens when Russia turns the target towards America? These other nations going to say the same thing. We ain't got nothing to do with that. That's between y'all. But they have allies. America doesn't have any allies. Man, listen. This dude is turning all the United States allies into enemies. Don't eventually ain't nobody gonna have want to have nothing to do with America, man. Period. All right. It says what was the previous plan? Amidst Russia's war in Ukraine, it has been known Eastern European NATO nations have large stockpiles of Soviet era weapons. Officials said these stockpiles are incompatible with Western military equipment. All right, it says the revelation led to a long-term effort to get all NATO nations to on the same page in terms of weaponry. NATO did this by swapping out Russian-era jets with Western ones, specifically the F-16 and in some instances the F-35. However, some NATO countries are now considering a switch from US-made fighters to European jets. This comes as many NATO nations question Trump's liability to the partnership. They're questioning it. And they have every right to question him because of how he's moving. He's moving funny according to their standards. According to their standards, he's moving funny. All right. It says, how is Europe responding? It says the European Union also announced on Wednesday, March 19th, a new shift away from a defense policy dependent on the United States for security and plans to buy more military technology from Europe. In recent years, the EU has given roughly two-thirds of its weapon orders to the United States defense companies, man. See that? And then America will lose a lot of dough if they push this. How is Canada responding? Canada is also considering changes amid a trade war with the United States. Prime Minister Mark Carney is ordering a review of its purchase of F-35s from the United States to move from the United States. The move could be significant considering Canada has worked in concert with the United States in developing the jet. All right, it says not all countries are moving away from the United States weaponry, though. The Netherlands and Norway have recently expressed continued support for the U.S. F-35 programs. Eventually, they're gonna dip too. The date about to date, about 1,100 F-35 Joint Strike Fighters have been produced for 16 military services around the world. While expensive, Europe would not be able to replicate 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 its compatibilities with purchases outside the U.S. It says what are the other concerns among European allies? Adding to European concerns and a potential shift away from the United States military technology, the Trump administration's stance on Russia-Ukraine war has led to fears the United States could install a hypothetical kill switch in F-16 F-35 programming. The Pentagon, however, firmly denies any such kill switch exists. All right, that'd be crazy. You sell somebody some weapon thinking that they finna use them against somebody, then you put a kill switch on them that what I'm saying makes them not operable. But you're witnessing all these nations turn their back on that whore, Babylon the Great, which is America. And guess who's stirring it up? How by Shem Yahushua. Let's get some scriptures real quick. This is Nahum 33 and 1. It says, woe to the bloody city, it is full of lies and robbery, the prey depart not. All right? Right. Because we still here. But the scripture says the point is, woe to that bloody city, America. It was built on blood, man. So that's it was built on war and bloodshed, and that's how it's going to be destroyed. But this war is going to be burning and fuel of fire. Thus saith the Lord. This is Joel 3 and 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Right. Let them come up. The Lord stirring up the host of the battle. All right. And guess who's gonna fall at this last one? America. America. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hook into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. And that's what you're witnessing happen. It was at one point in time it was all about an agricultural race. Who can build their economy up the best? Who can, you know what I'm saying? Well, then get they dollar to the forefront to establish their currency as being dominant. And America was winning that war. America was winning that. But now it's like, okay, let's go to war. Who's gonna win this one? The dollar ain't gonna save them. The dollar's gonna be obsolete, even though they're making a digital form of it. They're making a digital form of it to so the dollar can still compete. But once these hot wars like kick off, America's not gonna have any backing behind that um behind the dollar, even though it's still gonna have dominance when it's switched over to the digital form. Um, but you're still gonna see America being like plucked away and slowly circling the drain, as Klaus Schwab said, or was that George Soros? I think that was George Soros said that America's gonna be slowly circling the drain, right? So like they're slowly doing away with the Lord is slowly doing away with this place. All right, to get more and more scriptures. That's why everybody is trying to get from by this place. All right. It's Jeremiah 51:1. It said, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me and destroy and win. And that's talking about the missiles, man. Ultimately, it's all going to lead up to everybody buying a bunch of missiles and shooting them off at this place. And I will send unto Babylon fanners, and their fanners mean enemies. All right, and they shall fan her and empty her land for the day of trouble. They shall be against her round about, right? And that's what you're going to see. You're witnessing it happen right now. It says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, all right? I said, because, America is the number one stockpiler of nuclear weapons. Am I right about it? Yeah. America's number one, Russia's number two, and China's number three, all right? But, so it says, against her that bend the bow, okay, you bend it too. She got missiles, y'all got missiles. And it says, and against him that lifteth up his brigandine, his armor, and spare ye not her young, destroy ye utterly all her host. Everything about this place. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel has not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. All right, this is a point I want to get to. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. See that? Get your mind out this place. So the Lord can destroy this place, man. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense, man. And it's time for the Lord to pay Babylon the great back. We're in the time of the 10 toes. And not only that, even though the European Union and NATO is pulling away from America, they still going to be destroyed too. That whole structure is still going to be destroyed by the Lord, man. It says, verse 7, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad and foolish. Now they getting their mind right back now. And they starting to pull away from America. You see that? So it's a beautiful thing to be able to witness these things that are going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So we got to really maintain and keep that Passover type spirit, man, as these things heat up. All right, Lord, willing, this lesson was edifying and serve His purpose for the hopeful elect, the ones that truly believe in the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai. With that, I'd like to say, Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Harakak Wadash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and my elder here one as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing this truth and sincerity and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shem Shai. Shalom.